See? So.
Hey, Gregory, can you get a good picture, man? I want it. Thank you, sir.
Hold on.
Stay there. Keep it up. Look at me. And him. Sorry. Go.
Okay, 1, 2.
Made everything else.
Let me tell you about the serpent theory, the way that Eve got it. She got bit.
No, that's what I was hearing.
And that's what they do now. When you watch two Komodo dragons mate, they do. They grab the neck and inject the saliva and their DNA.
So, like, dude, I've always said, call the vampires, man. You know, and that's their way of like injecting their DNA.
Yeah, their DNA. But if they buy somebody that's the elect, God,
He's a volunteer
Christian, they die.
Teach about what a
They
volunteer
die.
Oh, the one that bites them
He's on an
dies.
assignment.
No.
And will touch
Yeah,
the elect
the reptilian dies.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
It has no effect, and their wound heals instantly. But
By the way,
you see all these people that
in charge of the
they're
North Carolina
UFOs, and they
militia.
got this mark and that mark. They're bite marks. Is what they are.
Wow.
North Carolina
They're
made
just
him
all
in charge
bite
of the
marks.
militia.
I'm scared.
Eli
I
has
charged
the
you
other
before I
half
left.
delusion, but the other delusion is
It's the grave.
that when they come, they're going to come in peace.
Oh yeah.
And everybody's going to say, I told you.
Yeah,
They're
dude,
all-
the extraterrestrials
you know
are
what
great.
they're
They're
doing?
extra dimensionals, but no, the
As
extraterrestrials
soon as you
are
step
great.
on the craft, they got candles lit in your dinner.
Yeah.
They
We
eat
come in peace.
Yes.
They eat you.
Yes.
Yeah, we come in peace.
Yeah, that's what they do, because they eat humans. And when I was down there, approximately between 7,000 and 12,000 children every other day would come in for food.
Dude,
for them.
that's where those
And
missing children are on the back.
And then the police organizes, the Gestapo police, which is military, organizes, and they tend to nail anybody. They take somebody who's got a criminal record and they nail them for murder for it. And they do get the remains after they're done.
Sure.
And it's so heinous that the guy gets the death penalty and he never did a thing. And that's how they cover it. And then they have human rape camps where they make humans mate so that they can eat the children, so they have a steady supply.
Yeah, I was breeding. They breed.
Where are these rape camps?
Underneath the Dulce, there's 432 locations.
And the
The worst one out of all the locations I've ever been to is Dulce, New Mexico. That is
And
definitely.
they've
by
got
far
women
the
in
worst.
there that are in.
No, they're regular men and women, and they're so brainwashed from MK Ultra and the things that they do. And some of the
So
stuff
they're-
I can't explain how
So
it
they're
works. I
compliant
just
that
seen
they're
it.
just
Right.
making babies to provide food.
Food.
Yeah.
Just to provide food.
Well, dude, that's what they did in the temples of Baal, man. They'd have, the
right.
temple whores would just have sex just to have the babies to sacrifice to them.
Yeah.
So this has been going on from the
They told us, I had one tell me, there's 4 that were in control of all of us.
All the skin is not.
And I wasn't a Christian, so I had mutual respect from one. He didn't bother me, and I didn't fuck with him. And that's just the way it
What's his
was.
name?
He didn't have a name, he just was they would call him ruler. They call God the master of universal law. And they told me that they are bounded for now by the master of universal law, and that we had the right to crush and destroy them completely,
We do.
but we won't do it, and they know it. So this story he told me, this is part of the lie, because they don't want to acknowledge where they're going. And see, the word of God, it isn't the word of God and what you say. It reminds them where they're going, and that's what tortures.
That's right, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Right, because they've already been
makes sense.
condemned.
Yeah, they don't want to be reminded of that. So
Well, guys, always reminding
yeah, and so they.
Spirit is the intellect, who you are, okay? Your flesh is this physical's presence, but if the flesh dies, because God made you, you have a spiritual body. That's your soul, okay? So what happens is we can go interdimensionally. We can go to Father. But these creatures that were birthed from a demonic angel and a flesh being, okay, because he the daughters of Adam, all right? When those souls, when that flesh dies with the great flood, and that's why the flood came, it wasn't just because the times were so evil. It's because these things were f***ing his DNA up. It didn't matter if it was
See,
foul.
what God did was he roots out bloodlines, the whole bloodline.
Okay.
That's what happened to Saul when he went, he brought it back. God told him to burn the animals. No, it was to root out the entire bloodline so it didn't exist anymore. And when he brought some back, he brought the bloodline back. He didn't do what he was supposed to. In other words, when God told him to burn everything, I'm talking about the ants, the insects, and everything, because they were all genetically
right.
ours.
Okay, so look, this is what kills me about those who don't read the Bible. They're like, oh, God in the Old Testament was so cruel. He was always killing these things and killing these people. It's like, they still had the Nephilim blood in them. They still had the DNA in them.
Yeah.
It wasn't that he was just killing people just just for the sake of killing. It's because they were still part of that aberration from before the flood, and they were still. Look, I've read after the flood at least 25 family names, from the Hebusites, Jebusites, the Perizzites, the Enim, the Anakim. There's Anakin Skywalker, okay? He's like the Khazars put all the shit into all their movies, man. Whether we know about it or not, like, oh, dude, I didn't know that Anakin was a giant. Well, now this shit makes sense, man.
When you're
tell 'em how-
Satanic or Wicca or Ouija board or whatever, this particular reptilian that we had mutual respect.
There's 4 in charge of all the others.
And I killed some for him that were what he called renegades. They just, they would eat each other. They were so bad off, and he had to maintain some kind of order to complete their mission. So I did favors for him, and he did favors for me, and his favors was he told me everything, for 6,740 years back to present.
Right.
And what happens is that when these people are summoning some demons, and took me to this place, and you could, like prayers, you could hear just millions of voices. Couldn't make sense out of one of them. He'd clap his hands to zone in on one for me, and I'm hearing this people summons in the name of a demon. And he goes, "There's no demon that has that name, but let's just send them a couple up there."
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
dude.
they just disappeared. He goes, "You two are going," and they disappeared. And I said, "Now how's it work?" He goes, "Well, they'll come out as a little kid, as a ghost, and then maybe a Civil War soldier, whatever they want."
Somebody that's familiar.
Yeah,
usually.
and then
Like your great aunt Eunice, but it's
look,
not her.
they said so. Then the medium comes in, and that's what they want, because that opens up the door further
For them to, go
Right.
inhabit you.
And so when they do it, they start as a little girl, but you see God and say it can't cross over, but God wouldn't do such a thing to a little girl.
Of course not, man.
You see,
Right.
when you die, you go to heaven or hell, and that's all there is to it. The minute you're dead, it's just
Right.
instant.
You're not here. And that's
Yeah.
why.
So-
But it wasn't until I read the book of Enoch did I find out that it was the disembodiment of that spirit from the flesh. That is what we call the demons, the poltergeist, the ghosts, whatever the
Yeah.
hell you want to call it.
So
It's them.
So they'll get an article, and the article isn't possessed. It's a demon just as big as me and you, holding the doll and walking it like this to make it look like it. They can't possess a doll.
Right.
And so they walk it, and then they bring the medium in, and that's what they wait for. And then a higher demon comes in, and then on many occasions he tells me that one of the parents will end up killing the whole family out of insanity, and then the demon depossesses him, and 4 or 5 of them start in his mind putting imprints. You're a scumbag. Look what you did to your whole family. In other words, they tuck you
Oh,
to
right,
do
right,
it.
right,
And then
right,
you're a
right,
scumbag
right.
for doing it. And what does the guy do?
Right.
Kills himself. They go to the next house.
Murder suicide, man.
Right next to the next house. They just move on. And the only way to get rid of it, you can't resell the house. It has to be pushed down and concrete put over it. Because
You
demons.
can't exercise the house.
No. The demons, what they'll do is they don't want to possess concrete and have cars sitting on them all day long. So when you do that, that's the end of that curse on that property right there. That's the end of it. And that's just the way it works. And he told me the whole thing. And even though they're liars, there was some lying. And the way I tell everybody is, but there's a lot more to it. And I'll answer everybody's questions.
Oh, brother, awesome, man.
In
I'm
a
so glad
village
you came
space,
today.
I
This
just
is
want to meet
the proper
everybody
place for
first.
this conversation to happen, man.
Yeah.
Paul's a good guy. I met him last
Oh
year.
yeah. And I'll give you a way to keep in contact.
All right, please.
All right.
Take 15 minutes out of your time. Right, cool, facts,
It's hard to explain.
Yeah, well, you guys rescue me next time.
Oh, we will. There's your man right there. That was your
It's hard to
rescuer.
explain it though.
Man,
we
you
read-
this guy cornered me.
That guy.
And when I was done, he walked away sad.
Yeah, he did. Now, are you talking about them Jews that are of the
I said,
Jewish
now,
bloodline?
listen here. I said, don't be trying to group people together
Yeah.
because. Let me ask you this. I said, if you don't believe in absolute truth, then
Yeah,
me and you are finished.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, what about reincarnation and timelines? I said, you believe that God is absolute truth? Yes. Then he's the only one that can change the timeline. Man can't do it. Neither can the
Come on in.
And he left perplexed.
Yeah.
He's asking me about time and space, which I do know all about that stuff, but I'm not a physicist. I can't tell you that shit works. I just seen people disappear and come back older and all this stuff. You know, and do you believe in reincarnation? I said, guess what? Nikola
What if I told-
Tesla's daughter is here.
Gives them an order, then
Huh?
that's
Nikola
Is she
Tesla.
here?
She's here.
She's supposed to be.
His daughter's here.
Really?
Or
Yeah,
his
so
niece, I thought it was.
Me, she wants to talk to me, so me and her are going to talk
Oh, yeah.
privately about Nikola. Her dad was Nikola Tesla.
Can I get
It's
that?
his niece.
Uncle.
It's her niece. His niece.
Yeah. Because I seen his time machine, and when they took it to S4, they made it work. So he was this close. There was just a few calculations that he was off,
And they finished it.
and they finished it.
amazing.
Now remember now, I was the security commander. My job was to make sure that no Nephilim, nothing interfered with experiments, and that was my job. I owned the base. My job wasn't to sit there and figure out the calculations and all this. And I stood and I was a bodyguard to the president when they came, and all these congressmen and stuff. And I know George Bush real good, his dad real good. They call me the gangster. That's what they call me. And George Bush told me one time, he says, you know, I never wanted to be president. And I said, what's the deal? He said, all I ever wanted to be in my life was the baseball commissioner. But my father, he calls his dad Poppy, and the reason they do is because they control the poppy fields in Afghanistan. And so I worked with Oliver North, and I killed 528 intel leaders. One-shot kills. So I hold the biggest record, but Hitchcock, the guy Bradley Cooper, we all had our different pressures. So I can't compare myself to a man who made 93 confirmed killed under 10 times the pressure that I was under. I was in the jungle where they couldn't see me, and I killed them. If I needed help, I just called the Navy SEALs, and they were there in 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And the government looks at you as a dollar sign. So they looked at me that Oliver North told me this. He was my commander. And he told me, he says, they've got like $50 million tied up in you with the top secret information and things. So these Navy SEAls, if they all got killed, as long as you come out, then the end was right.
It was worth it.
It was worth it because
protecting
I was worth more. And then see, I don't look at it that way. People are not worth more than another. But to the military, and Paul probably could verify this, you're a dollar sign. That's why when the war, everybody says, why are they sending the National Guard in there?
Yeah.
Because they're cheap.
Yeah.
They only cost them a month a year, so they might have $1 million tied in them. But me, in 4 months, cost $10 million, you see. So they send them out to die first, and then they send the regular army to clean up the mess.
Right.
You've got too much money tied up in them.
Right.
And then you're just a dollar sign and a number. I was in a battle one time in the Middle East, and near Fallujah, and they had we counted 56 of ours dead. They wanted the body count. I called and I said, there's 56. A few minutes later, got in there and said, we need 58. So you can. Spiritual warfare is won or lost within the threshold of your mind.
And the mind is your soul.
That is.
Colonel, when I was at your house and you recited Isaiah word for word, and I never see you pick up a Bible, but you say you do.
Isaiah 3.
How do you know the Bible so well?
Because I read it every day.
Okay.
It's a part of his being.
He wrote me a letter one time saying, Colonel, I never see you pick up the Bible, blah, blah, blah. I said, you're not here, man. How do you know I pick up the Bible or not? And I forgot to bring the one that he gave me. But the pages, I have to tape them and glue them back together because they're falling out. And every single page in the Bible has something highlighted from page 1 to the end. Around it, millions and millions of demons in it that they're reprogramming. And all the lines that came off of each one of them tubes went into this box called the Lucifer box. And the Lucifer box, Satan programmed for them and did it daily and reprogrammed the lie and redevised this lie and revised that lie. So all these things, and then when they're born, they're an infant to maturity in less than 8 weeks. They're like me and you, and they know exactly what they're supposed to do, and they're smart. They're like physicists in 8 weeks from embryo. Then they let them loose because they look like humans. They let these things loose. Sasquatch, werewolves, all this stuff's real. Werewolves and vampires, all that stuff's real. And they turn them loose. And anything that they can't control or causes problems, the reptilians don't like that, so they send them out. They don't kill them, they send them out.
So you wonder why the world. So I want you to tell them the story about when you were at a location and they said you brought a 270er in here.
Oh yeah, they have different IQ things. I actually scored 171. Einstein scored 168. I didn't go to school. I quit school in the 8th grade. And then when I got my GED with that studying, I got a 4.2 on it, and a 4.4 is only possible.
Right.
The 25 questions that are in there that don't count, I got them all right. So when they brought me down to meet with this, to secure really the area for the commanders talking to this reptilian, they add another 100 to it, and they said, why did you bring a 271 down here? Because he knows who we are. And it scared him to death. And so I just sat there, and they tried.
But they were in human form at this point, right?
Yeah, they tried to manipulate me, so he shapeshifted in front of me, and I didn't flinch. And I told the commander, I said, I don't know what the hell you're trying to do, but that doesn't scare me. And I said, really? If you do it again, I just might as well pull the pistol out and shoot you along with him, because I will. And he goes, but you'd get in trouble for that. I said, you want to bet? I said, I can shoot you, I'll injure you, just to show you that nobody's going to say shit to me.
But tell him about how he actually did shapeshift, and
He shapeshifted to try to scare me into reptilian form, and I didn't flinch because I've already seen the reptilians, and it didn't bother me. So I told him, if you do it again, I'm going to blow your head off right here and now. I said, and I've got the right to do it. And I said, this base doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to the commander. It belongs to me. As long as I'm down here, it's mine. So you're in my house. Don't do it again.
And then tell them about the box for the holographic beautiful women.
Yeah, let me get a little bit of rest. I've been hammered since I've been here. And I'll tell the whole story, I promise. Before I leave, you'll get the whole story.